I'm John DeSando.
Cinema, 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 cinema. Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with our friends. Turn off our cell phones and get away. Night or day, it's John DeSando on the radio. We'll watch the credits from our patio.
Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando. It airs Thursdays at 8:01 p.m. on WCBE 90.5 FM. Listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando,
And I'm Wayne Miller.
and this is Cinema Classics.
John, how many of these type of shows are we going to be seeing?
Listen, how many times are we going to be reviewing Jason Statham?
I know.
I mean, we just reviewed him last year for the junkiest movie of the year.
Yeah, Meg too.
You're right, The
But
Trench.
And he's a fixture in the Fast and Furious franchises now, as well as, of course, the Expendables. But John, what are we talking about today?
It's the bee's knees.
The Beekeeper with Statham.
Yeah.
And pardon me if I need to drone on about this.
Well, let it be.
Well, we're gonna get all
no.
worked up on
They
this one.
they shouldn't be inducing us for these corny puns.
I know, but I tell you, John, I enjoyed this one too, as usual, and it's another revenge flick. And good grief, how many have we done?
I don't know.
This past year alone.
I've got to, and we'll talk about those when we
Yeah,
get to
I
our
expect to.
podcast.
I know.
But I'm telling you, I just took a few minutes and I had half a dozen just recently in the last 10 years or less.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to talking about that because there's a lot to say about that. This really a genre of its own. Now.
Yeah, well, you know, there's something in our DNA about the eye for an eye to business.
Yeah, right.
We
Revenge.
can't
Yeah.
seem to get, and Liam Neeson's
Right.
making a fortune on this kind of thing.
Yeah, Neeson, yeah. He's great, and at one time Bruce Willis used to.
Yeah.
But John, I tell you, the one thing I really liked about this one that kind of sets it apart for me from all the other ones, from the John Wick movies and the Equalizer movies, and even a non-professional retired assassin like the One Silent Night that we did, that we really kind of liked. But John, what I liked about this, the bad guys, the smarmy 30-something-year-old guys running almost a boilerplate call center thing. And John, how many times? I know I've been hit with it. You've been hit with it. Most of my friends have been hit with it. You're on your computer, and all of a sudden bells and lights and everything goes flashing off. Don't turn off your computer. Don't do anything. Call this number.
That's a good one. The one that I get,
Yeah.
you know, every month or two.
Yeah.
The one with the kind of red border and it says, don't do a thing.
Exactly.
Just call this number.
Yes,
So
and
it's-
lights are flashing off and a
It's
siren.
a good one, and
Oh.
if you're an elderly lady who's not tech savvy, such as in our film,
Such as I am, yeah.
you're vulnerable because all you
Very.
need to do is call, and then you got these phishing guys.
Yes, and then they walk you through it. Now, the one time I was hit with that, and this was just a couple of months ago. Fortunately, it was on my computer at Franklin University. This happened. I called that number, and and the guy, when he found out I was at a university with very advanced cybersecurity measures on that computer, he said, "Okay, well, I think you're going to be okay. Just hit whatever," because he wanted me to go through the steps, and I called the help desk at Franklin, and he said, "Oh yeah, this is very, very common. Never call that number because they're basically fraudsters."
Well, I'll tell you, for the Beekeeper,
Yeah.
one of the things that I was impressed with was its kind of ersatz literate tone. The fact that they have this motif, way too much in it, but still, they did the puns.
Yes.
And they kept them going, even
Yeah.
when a bad guy looks at him and says, "To be or not to be."
Yeah.
They so I appreciated what they were doing. They're smart enough to know that we don't think that they have a literate film here, but I liked their attempt to weave something through that was consistent in the film,
Yeah.
and something that was not just beating brains out.
Exactly.
And you and I both liked that first half hour or so.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Very fun.
I would say the first half, maybe 2/3 of the movie,
Yeah.
I really liked. It got a little bit more too improbable for me, the last third
Yeah,
of the movie.
yeah.
You know, that even though the lady president of the U.S. played by a member, a granddaughter of Sir Michael Redgrave, so
Right.
the Redgrave acting royalty in Great Britain, and she, the niece of Lynn Redgrave and Vanessa Redgrave, she does a good job. And of course, you talk about the literary stuff, and I really recommend to our listeners for them to go on WCBE's website and read your excellent written
Thank you.
review of the movie, and that you even quote
I
from
dare to
Shakespeare.
quote the Bard.
Yes,
I know,
that,
because he
but
was
very, very good though. But what I really kind of liked about that was the interplay between the bad guys in Statham, but also now some critics really did not like it though. Kind of the little subplot of the victim's daughter, and basically it's kind of like the beekeeper who's retired, and he's keeping bees for this woman that has money and lives out in her barn. And I thought a very good casting choice there, Felicia Rashad, who played the elderly black woman who is sucked in by these fraudsters who call her up and say, oh, supply us with this, hit this button, do that, so they could go and hack her accounts and drain everything, and including a charitable foundation that she's a trustee of, to the tune of $2 million.
It's when you get past the exaggeration,
Yeah.
and you're right, you've got to accept some of the silliness toward the end of it.
Yeah.
If you accept it as an elaborate metaphor for
Yeah.
the lives that we lead and the dangers that we have online, and for people who are vulnerable,
Yeah.
then you have a good film with solid themes.
Well, and it brings it home to us,
Yeah.
because this isn't an international drug cartel or mobsters or the ex-KGB, or Euro trash people. These are Americans. This is something we could
Yeah.
relate to.
You're gonna love.
Frightens us.
I know you're gonna love though, and you can raise your eyebrows, but you're gonna love the scene where it's something like a game show for these.
Oh,
And they got hordes of these guys waiting for this lady to give all of her personal information.
Yes, this seems like it just
and
wouldn't-
he's just like a game show host.
yes,
And so
yeah.
slick and oily.
Oh, but Felicia Rashad, I thought, was a good choice because a lot of people remember her for the many years she played Bill Cosby's wife on the TV series The Cosby Show, and she was kind of like everybody's kind of mother at that time, and that was a good choice.
Yeah, picking up on Neeson's usual MO, when it gets personal, it gets important.
Yes.
And when it's his friend who was one person who took care of him, that is Statham.
Yeah.
Then when you have Neeson who loses a daughter or whoever, it's usually somebody close. It makes it, and this one I think does it even better because it universalizes it.
Yes,
That
yeah.
for those
Yeah,
people who don't
yeah.
have daughters or family members, you have to worry about. You have
Yeah.
to worry about your fortune, whatever it is. And this film does a great job. Now, you also don't worry. There's plenty of Statham in this film. The best has to be when he carries two jugs of gasoline into this huge building, tells everybody to get out because he's going to burn it
They
down.
burn it down. Or I felt was so funny when he captures the first guy who was the huckster, fraudster that was running this big boilerplate. And a little bit to say about that because it kind of reminded me a little bit about Alec Baldwin in Glengarry Glen.
Gun Ross.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of selling swampland in Florida, and the more aging salespeople
Yes,
doing that,
yeah.
that here we've got all these like 20-somethings
Yeah.
being led by a 30-something at best. But
Yeah.
when he captures him and something happens, he chops off, and the guy gets on the place. Oh my God! He chopped the fingers off my right hand, and that guy had what? And of course, we hooted and hollered like the little banshees.
Well, you pointed out to me this guy Josh Henderson or whoever it is.
Yes, yeah.
Was from the Hunger Games or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and a number of other things, and he does a great job.
Well,
Talk about a smarmy kid.
Look at I want to offer you up another very funny part.
Yeah.
When he captures him, when Statham captures him, this young 28-year-old punk, and he says, "So, are you an estate planner?" And Henderson says, "I'm only 28 years old. Why not? What do I need that for?" So Statham tells him, "You're about to find out."
Yeah, yeah, because oh, it was excellent. But I started to say, and I didn't finish that. I also liked the interplay between the two FBI agents. One who was the victim's daughter, and one of the reviews I read kind of said they thought it was distracting. I thought it was very funny.
I thought it was underdone.
And
Yeah,
I
so
thought
much
it was
promise.
very good. But also what they said, why does it seem like, because of all this cute interplay, this young black woman and young white guy, FBI agents, their interplay, that how come that was funny? How come she's not as sad about the loss of her mom as Statham is? Which I thought was kind of a good point.
Yeah.
But anyhow, excellent movie.
And-
I thought it's one to see.
And you're talking, I think, about Emmy Raver Lampman as Agent Verona Parker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that's
her
what we're
mom.
talking about. She's
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
She's really good in this. Yeah.
And I'm looking for
And before we sign off,
yeah, okay.
one of my favorites, an Oscar winner in a Jason Statham movie. There's nobody who plays the smarmy patrician better than Jeremy Irons.
My goodness, yes. And almost was like what would be described as maybe a more handsome Boris Karloff, down to his voice.
Oh, yeah.
But his cadaverous looks. But he does a great job. He just, you can see why the royal family has its problems if they're a lot like.
Well,
this
Wayne Miller, it's the Beekeeper. What do you suggest?
Oh, I suggest if you want a rip-roaring good time to go see it, particularly the first third of it, I believe, or first half, I thought was really good.
I'm John DeSando.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with our friends. Turn off our cell phones and get away. Night or day, it's John DeSando on the radio. We'll watch the credits from up high and low. Cinema classics on